Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Claire dreams of Jordan, aunt's ominous message leads to trouble. The Young and the Restless Light Hour spoilers reveal that Jordan, Colleen Zenk, may be locked up in a maximum security prison, but she's never far from Claire Grace's, Haley Erin mind. That's especially true now since Claire's been having to think about Jordan more often and explain her past to her new siblings. Johnny Abbott, Paxton Mishkind, had questions about what it was like for Claire growing up with her crazy aunt. Meanwhile, Katie Abbott, Sienna Mercury, has been blaming Jordan for the house fire and struggling to separate Jordan's actions from Claire's. Claire doesn't want to hide anything from Katie and Johnny, so she's tried to be honest about the horror that Jordan put her through. Unfortunately, reliving that horror could lead to trouble if it stirs up some nightmares for Claire. It's obvious that Wyatt and R loves using Colleen Zenk, but they couldn't drag Jordan's storyline out any further. It was time for Jordan to head back to the Slammer, but there are still ways they can feature Zenk if she makes appearances in Claire's dreams. After all, Claire's had dreams about Jordan before, so there's no reason for her to stop now. This could be a good opportunity to remind the audience of the psychological toll that Jordan took on Claire and leave the door open for more issues to develop. Although Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, will have a little chat with Katie and seemingly help her become a bit more accepting of Claire, that doesn't mean things will be smooth sailing from now on. Other problems could arise that make bonding difficult for the sisters, so Jordan might speak to Claire in a dream and act like she should have expected this. It's easy to imagine Jordan warning that Claire will never truly win Katie over. Jordan might act like it's only a matter of time before Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinle, rejects her in favor of her other daughter. As Claire potentially grows closer to Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, that could bring another chance for Jordan to pop up in nightmare form. Jordan might warn Claire that she's incapable of real love and act like any romance she might have is a disaster waiting to happen. Then again, maybe Claire could dream of some ominous message that feels more like a premonition of Jordan's next reign of terror. Jordan might deliver a threat that leaves Claire worried about the potential for a prison break or her aunt's partner in crime on the outside. Whatever the case, our predictions point to more Jordan mayhem sooner or later, so Claire might get the first sign of it if Jordan haunts her while she's sleeping. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire has some surprises in store no matter what, so we'll bring you updates on any Jordan news that's looming. Claire had always been a dreamer. Her nights were often filled with vivid dreams that felt almost real, but lately the dreams had taken a different turn. They were no longer just random sequences, they revolved around a single person, Jordan. Claire couldn't shake the feeling that these dreams were trying to tell her something important. It all began on a rainy night when Claire found herself in a vast, misty field. Air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and the only sound was the distant echo of thunder. As she wandered through the field, she saw Jordan standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out over a dark, turbulent sea. His face was etched with worry, and he seemed to be searching for something or someone. "Jordan!" Claire called out, but her voice was swallowed by the wind. She tried to run towards him, but the ground beneath her feet seemed to stretch endlessly, keeping her at a distance. Jordan turned and looked at her, his eyes filled with a mix of desperation and hope. Before she could reach him, he faded into the mist, leaving Claire with a profound sense of loss. She woke up with a start, her heart pounding in her chest. The dream had felt so real, so urgent. She knew she had to find out what it meant. But how? Jordan was a distant relative, someone she hadn't seen in years. They had drifted apart after high school, and now he was just a name on a Christmas card. Claire decided to confide in her aunt Olivia, who was known for her intuition and understanding of the mystical. Olivia had always been the family's go-to person for advice on dreams and omens. When Claire described her dream, Olivia's face grew serious. "This is not just a dream, Claire," Olivia said, her voice low and ominous. "It's a message, a warning. Jordan is in trouble and you are connected to him in ways you don't yet understand. Claire felt a chill run down her spine. What should I do, Aunt Olivia? You need to find Jordan, Olivia replied, and you need to do it soon. The dreams will guide you, but you must be careful. There are forces at work here that you cannot see. Determined to uncover the truth, Claire began her search for Jordan. She contacted old friends and relatives, trying to piece together his whereabouts. Each night, the dreams became more intense, offering cryptic clues and fragments of conversations. One night, she found herself in a dark forest where she heard Jordan's voice calling her name. She followed the sound, only to find a hidden path that seemed to lead to nowhere. The following day, Claire received a phone call from an old friend who had spotted Jordan in a small town upstate. Without hesitation, she packed her bags and set off on a journey that felt more like a quest. As she drove through winding roads and unfamiliar landscapes, the sense of urgency grew stronger. When she finally reached the town, she found it to be a place that time had forgotten. The streets were empty and the air was thick with silence. She checked into a small inn and began asking around about Jordan. Most people seemed wary, giving her vague answers or avoiding her questions altogether. One evening, as she sat in the inn's cozy lounge, an elderly woman approached her. "You're looking for Jordan, aren't you?" the woman asked, her eyes sharp and knowing. "Yes, do you know him?" Claire asked eagerly. The woman nodded. "He's been staying here, but he's not himself. There's something dark surrounding him, something that's keeping him here against his will." Claire felt a knot form in her stomach. "Where can I find him?" The woman pointed to the edge of town, where an old, abandoned house stood. "He's there, but be careful. There are things in that house that do not belong to this world." Claire thanked the woman and made her way to the house. It was a decrepit building, with windows boarded up and ivy crawling up the walls. As she approached, she felt a strange energy, a sense of being watched. She pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. She called out Jordan's name, but there was no response. She wandered through the dark corridors, her footsteps echoing in the silence. Suddenly, she heard a faint sound, like someone crying. She followed the sound to a room at the back of the house. There she found Jordan sitting on the floor, his face pale and haunted. "Jordan," she exclaimed, rushing to his side. He looked up at her, his eyes filled with a mix of relief and fear. "Claire, you shouldn't be here. It's not safe." "I had to find you," Claire said, kneeling beside him. "What's happening? Why are you here?" Jordan took a deep breath and began to explain. "I've been having nightmares, dreams that feel like they're tearing me apart. I came here to find answers, but I found something else. There's a spirit in this house, a malevolent force that's been feeding on my fear. It won't let me leave."